Hey, everybody. This is one of the first times I've ever gone live on here, actually. So, hello. If you have been following me for a while and if we haven't met, so to speak, hi. It's really exciting to meet you. So, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Natalie Ford. I'm a dating and relationship coach, historically for women, but there's an opening in me that, I'm starting to work with people of all genders. So anyway, I'm here and I'm trying something new. I am exploring how it is to show up without a plan and connect with you guys on a more regular basis. So today I want to talk about the importance of authenticity in relationships, like why that matters and why I believe it's an absolutely foundational piece of building a healthy, committed, nourishing, long-term relationship. If you have any questions, please do just put them in the chat as I'm speaking. I will do my best to answer you. So, authenticity is not something we're taught, right? We're actually taught the complete opposite. I remember as a child, I remember very specifically actually one instance where there was a male friend of the family who I just found a bit creepy. Nothing had happened, but I was just a bit creeped out by the way he was. And I think one day I actually expressed that to my mum and dad privately, not in front of him. But I was like, ooh, I was a little girl. Ooh, I don't really like that person. Like, he creeps me out. And the response I got was, oh, don't be so silly. He's a friend of the family. He's lovely. So immediately what I was told was, you're wrong. Your opinion is wrong or doesn't matter. And you need to conform to what we think because that's the consensus of the family. And we get taught in those moments, don't be you. Whatever you're experiencing, whatever you're feeling isn't okay. And it's not valid and it's not even wanted in this moment. So from a very young age, we are conditioned by our family and by society to conform and to fit in. And that means we lose touch with who we really are because we start to put behind us, in our shadow bag, we start to go, oh, hang on, that bit of me is not welcome here. That bit of me is not welcome here. And we take off all the pieces of ourselves that we receive the message from society somehow that those bits are not going to get you accepted and loved and welcomed and invited into the tribe. So we become people pleasers. We step into this people pleaser archetype, and it makes sense as a kid because as a kid you can't defend yourself, right? You genuinely do need other people. You need to be looked after by the adults, and so you do need to conform. Like, it's a safety survival mechanism to conform to what you're being told is appropriate and acceptable to ensure your survival as an individual. But what happens for many of us is we don't ever grow that part of ourselves up, and we stay in this child role for a lifetime, and until we one day wake up, right? Which, if you're on my channel, I know you will already have been on your awakening, and I know that you're potentially actually even quite far down the line, and maybe people pleasing is something you used to do. You're like, oh yeah, I know that, I've been there, I've worked through the pieces, right? So why does it matter whether we are a people pleaser or our true authentic self in relationship? So for a long time I was a people pleaser, big style, and people pleasers have very low self-esteem. We fear that we're not really wanted, that we're not really valuable as we are. We don't really have much worth. We don't have much to offer. And we feel like most of our value as a being comes from how much we can please people and how much we can get people to like us. And the way we do that is to try and mold ourselves to be what we think they need. I remember working for one particular company when, trying to think at what point it was in my life. I was actually just at the very, very beginning of my spiritual awakening, or, you know, my life path change, whatever you want to call it. And I had very low self-esteem, very, very low self-esteem. I didn't know it at the time. In fact, I probably would have told you the opposite, because I was really confident. I've always been confident, even though that confidence was hiding a really low self-esteem for a long time. And I remember there was a new lady at work, and I thought she was lovely. She just had such a nice personality and such a nice demeanor about her. And I was like, oh my God, she's so nice. Like, I really want her to like me. So I bent over backwards to try and be her friend. I did loads of little like run around tasks for her. If she needed something at lunchtime, I'd pop out and go get it for her. If she, you know, needed something down at the shops but was busy, I would pick it up on my way when I was out. And I just thought that's what people did. I thought that's what nice friends and people do. And don't get me wrong, it is within a context. I was lacking the context. So she and I didn't really know each other. We didn't really have a friendship. I was trying to build one, right? And that is the context. Where this is healthy and where, you know, friends genuinely do this is where you've already got a friendship and there's already reciprocation built in, and trust, and shared commonality, and shared vulnerabilities of some things too. And she and I hadn't built any of that up. So this was out of place. I was going over and above to be liked, because I didn't realize at that point, people with low self-esteem don't realize that actually we are lovable and likable just as we are, right? We're just good people. And we don't have to go over the top. We don't have to do all these extra things and try and be nice and be liked. We just have to be us. But we've got so many inner critic stories, right? Hands up in the chat if you know about your inner critic. Like, send me like a black heart if you know about your inner critic. So many stories from the inner critic telling us that actually we're not nice, we're not good enough, we're bad or unlikable, unlovable, whatever the stories are. So this lady, even though she was totally lovely and she did really appreciate everything I was doing for her, we never became friends. And it wasn't that she didn't like me, and it wasn't that I didn't like her, and it wasn't that we weren't both nice people. What it was that she could smell that I was not authentic. She could pick up the vibes that actually I wasn't being true. Who I was showing up as was a people pleaser. It was a fake version of myself that I thought was necessary to be liked and to win her friendship. And I never gave her the chance, because I never gave anybody the chance back then, because also I didn't even know who I really was. I never gave her the chance to get to know the real me. And so she could never form a friendship with the real me. And I lost a lot of friends that way. And if you have been a people pleaser, I'm just going to check the temperature on my radiator because I'm feeling cold. If you have been a people pleaser, you've probably also experienced this sense that maybe people don't really like me. And I hate to give you a really hard truth, but it's true. They don't really like you, not because you're a bad person, not because they don't like the real you, the deeper you. They don't like this facade that you're presenting. The one that says, oh, let me do this for you. And can I do this for you? And, you know, please like me, please be my friend. it's fake and people can feel it. So no, they actually don't like you, and people didn't like me. And they might say things like, oh yeah, she's really nice, but, oh, she's a really kind person, but. And the but is, I don't really know who she is. Like, I don't feel safe building a connection with a facade because I know it's not real. And it's vulnerable, scary, even edgy to be the real you with something that isn't real. Because at some point, that something that isn't real will fall down. Like, it has to, facades always crack. Like, you're always eventually going to see the real person underneath, and it's not going to be the same as the facade. And people don't feel safe to trust until they actually get to see who that really is. So by not being authentic, I couldn't create any authentic connections. I couldn't create authentic friendships, and I certainly couldn't create authentic relationships. So I had this constant sense that I wasn't really welcomed and I wasn't really valued. And I didn't realize it back then, but actually I was right. Those perceptions were accurate, but my reason for those perceptions was wrong. So my reason was, I'm not good enough. People don't really like the real me. The real me is repellent or unlovable or not enough. Those were not true. Those were misperceptions. The truth, which I had no idea of, was that nobody could see the real me. So there was no way that they could possibly judge the real me and therefore negatively judge the real me, because I never let anyone see who that was. So if this resonates, please share in the comments. I would love to hear, what are your experiences around this? What are you noticing in your friendships? Have you tried to be friends with people who are people pleasing? Are you a people pleaser? And do you get that constant sense that you're not really welcomed and people don't really want to be around you and they don't really value you? Because you're going to have to face the really difficult truth that that is true, but not for the reasons that you think it is. It's not that you're not enough. It's that they're getting to know this mask that you're wearing, and they want to know you without the mask, removing the mask. And I know that's scary, and I know you have to risk rejection, and I know you have to actually probably do some work. I had to do years of work to find out, hang on, who is the real me? I've spent so long not being me, so long being who everybody else wants me to be, that actually I don't even know who I really am. If you're in that place, please get some help. Please get some one-to-one therapy to explore a safe space to find out who you are and do some experimenting, right? One of the things I did that was so helpful was work out, what do I truly like? Because when I first began my journey of healing and empowerment, I had no idea what I truly liked. And I spent about 6 or 9 months figuring it out, trying every time I had spare time. Do I like soaking in the bath? Do I like taking short showers or long showers? Do I like going to the cinema? I literally had to go back to basics. Like, God, do I even like going to the cinema, or have I just always done it because that's what everybody else did and I wanted to fit in? Do I like going to the theatre? Do I like roller skating or ice skating? Do I like running? Do I like working out at the gym? Literally, I had to find out all of these things for myself. And yeah, I discovered what I liked. And I also discovered, like, oh shit, actually, I thought I liked that thing, but actually it turns out I've just been doing it because everybody else was doing it. And actually, it doesn't really work for me. It's not really my thing. So coming back to like, why does this matter in relationships? I've already covered obviously some of those points, but I work with archetypes in my one-to-one client work. We talk a lot about archetypes, and actually I do it in my programs as well. I'm currently running a program called Soul Aligned Love. This is all based on archetypes. And the reason I bring that up is because I find it so helpful, right? It helps you connect behaviors to see that they're linked. Let me just grab some water. I've been getting this irritating cough today. Like I've been trying to do some talking and some live streams. It's in my throat. So there's one archetype or one pillar of energy. Like it's actually two archetypes because they're on a spectrum and you get a disempowered end and an empowered end. So they come as a pair. What is all linked together in this channel of energy is self-worth, authentic expression, like the sort of clothes you choose to wear, you know, whether or not you choose to put on makeup, how you style your hair, you know, is that truly authentic to you? When I first started doing this, I had to redesign my wardrobe because I used to wear literally brown, black, and white and nothing else. And I realized through doing this, I actually quite like color. I actually quite like color. Turns out I don't like patterns. Not a pattern person, but do love colors. Anyway, archetypes and authenticity in relationships. So the archetype that governs this energy is all about how much you value yourself, i.e. self-worth, what you value in life, i.e. what's important to you, how you express yourself, how you speak, how you dress, your opinions, your desires, the standards that you uphold for yourself, and whether or not you are willing to sacrifice perceived safety in order to be really, truly authentic. All of these things are linked. So if you notice that you've got a bit of shadow in one area, it will all be tied together. And this is going to be like your pillar to work on. This was a huge pillar for me to work on. Creating authentic relationships. If you are wearing a mask, you're people pleasing, or there's many other masks, people pleasers, just the main one. Your partner or anybody you date can't really get to know you. And therefore they can't really learn to love you. Because if they don't actually know who you are, all they are actually falling in love with is your people-pleasing behaviors. All the time you keep your true self, your authentic self hidden, nobody can truly love you. So without authenticity, without knowing who you really are, what you really like, and being courageous enough to show people that, which is vulnerability, right? That's pretty much the definition of vulnerability. You're never, ever going to experience true love. It's just not possible because you can't be known. You have to be known in order to be loved. And as a result, all of your relationships are going to be transactional. You're going to give a little bit and then you're going to wait to see, do they give back? They're going to give a little bit and then they're probably going to wait to see, oh, does she give back? Does he give back? Is it reciprocated? Is it balanced here? Is it fair? There's going to be point scoring. I don't know if any of you are watching Maths UK right now, Married at First Sight UK, but there have been quite a lot of point scoring going on recently where it's like, oh, well, you did this. Oh, well, you did that. And fights never get resolved. Never get resolved if you are trying to prove that you were right and somebody else is wrong. Prove that, hey, I've scored more points than this. You have to admit defeat. That is never going to create connection and love and relationship. That is always going to result in conflict, war, and ultimately the end of your relationship. I've lost myself. Why was I talking about point scoring? Oh, yeah, transactional relationships. They're always going to be, you're always going to feel insecure. You're always going to be like, am I getting enough? Am I giving enough? Am I getting enough? It's always going to be this fear of like, have I given too much? Have I given enough? Am I receiving enough? Has he given enough? It's exhausting. It's fucking exhausting. And it's horrible. It's really, I can promise you, if you're in that type of relationship right now, and believe me, I've been there. That's how I can speak to it. I know I've done a lot of that in my past. But it's exhausting and it's very unsatisfying and it's very unnourishing. And you feel insecure the whole time. This is actually what keeps your insecurities alive, because you're constantly wondering this battle of, have I got enough? Have I done enough? Are we equal? Is the scale? Am I going to be abandoned? Am I going to be rejected? So that type of relationship is never going to be fulfilling, especially if you are a heart-centered, soul-led being. Never, ever going to satisfy you. You have to do the work to be courageous enough to work out who you are, what you like, and to bring that part of you, well, actually not that part of you, all parts of you forward. The one place I would caveat this is, if you know you have parts of you that self-sabotage and tend to destroy connections, yes, you want to bring loving awareness to them. Yes, you want to learn to love those parts, but your partner does not need to learn to love them. Your partner needs to know they're there and needs to accept that that is part of you. Yes, there's an acceptance, but I don't want to encourage anybody to be throwing those parts, disruptive, aggressive, self-sabotaging, relationship destroying parts. Don't be throwing those at your partner, because you are going to destroy your relationship. But do you need to learn to accept and love those parts of yourself? Yes. Hell yes. And actually, that's something I'm really good at supporting women or even men, people of any gender, to do. And it's something I've had to work through as well. That will be another live stream. But in terms of showing all parts of yourself to your partner, by all means, you can let your partner know that you've got those parts. You can say, hey, I've got these parts. They're a bit unsavory, and I'm doing some self-love work to try to bring them into greater integrity, because I know those parts are not your truth. They might be your truth when you're triggered. They might be your truth when you're scared or angry or upset or sad or feeling rejected or abandoned. Yes, but that's a reaction. That's not the truth of who you are. So it's actually not your integrity. It's a defense mechanism. And that's something we can work together, or you can work with a therapist in, to learn to heal the parts underneath that are triggering that. But yes, by all means, let your partner know that those are there. But when I say bring all of you, I mean, I actually do mean bring those parts. Just don't throw them in somebody's face, because that's going to destroy your relationship. But you're never going to learn to love and accept yourself until those parts of you can be seen and held with love, whilst also acknowledging that they are disruptive, they are sabotaging, and there is some work to bring them into alignment with your integrity. So I'm going to leave it there today, because I don't want to chat too long. It has been really good to connect with you. If you found this interesting or supportive, or if you would like me to do more of these, please like this live stream, and please leave me a little comment. And of course, follow me if you are not currently a follower. In the comments, I obviously would love any questions, but actually what I'd really love to hear especially if you've made it this far in the live stream. What resonated for you in this? What landed and made you think, oh, yeah, like what landed in your body and went, oh God, yeah, that's the truth. That's something I really connect with. Please share with me, because it is so, so helpful. And if this raises any questions for you about what you'd like me to share on future live streams, please put that in the comments too. I'm so excited to chat with you further. Thank you for being on here.